Mary Sutton is an 83-year-old grandmother of 5 who lives alone in a senior's high-rise apartment in downtown Toronto. Her husband died 15 years ago. She has 2 daughters who live in Montreal and St. John's. They visit her every month or so, and she talks to them on the phone weekly. Mrs. Sutton has always been proud of her independence and has stated firmly that although she loves her family, she would never want to move in with either of her daughters and lose this independence. She retired from her position as an executive secretary to a bank president when she was 67 years old. She has been busy until recently, volunteering in several community projects, visiting friends, and caring for her own daily needs. She has come to the clinic for a routine physical examination. She is always smiling and friendly. Mrs. Sutton's health has been fairly good up until now, although she has experienced angina and arthritis pain in the past. She is being treated for hypertension with atenolol 25 mg and nifedipine 10 mg each day, as well as furosemide 40 mg. Her blood pressure is usually 140/80. She also takes a daily low-dose aspirin, has nitroglycerin tablets, and takes ibuprofen as needed for pain. She is on a low-fat, low-salt diet. Today, Mrs. Sutton seems quieter and smiles less than normal. When asked how she has been feeling, she answers, "Okay." But when asked about some of her volunteer activities, she states that she has not been able to get out and involved as much as before. When Mrs. Sutton weighs in, the nurse finds that she has lost 4.5 kilograms since her last visit 3 months ago. Her vital signs are as follows: blood pressure 152/85, pulse 74, respiratory rate 18, temperature 37.9, O2 sat 95%, and pain 4 out of 10. All these values are elevated since her last visit. Her muscle strength is somewhat diminished but adequate. Her gait is slow, steady, and balanced. When asked to slide her pants down for her assessment, she became somewhat flustered and anxious, but did so. The nurse sees that Mrs. Sutton has a wad of damp tissue inside her pants. There is no obvious stain on the tissue, but there is a strong odor of urine. The skin of her perineum and thighs is inflamed with a red, papular rash. When asked how long she has had the rash, Mrs. Sutton states that this has been getting worse for the last 2 months, and that nothing she has tried has helped it. When asked what she has tried, she answers cornstarch or talcum powder, witch hazel, and soap. The nurse asks why she is using the tissues. Mrs. Sutton answers that it is just a way to stay clean. The nurse then asks if she has any trouble holding her urine, and Mrs. Sutton says, "Of course, I'm 83, aren't I?" The nurse asks whether there is anything else that Mrs. Sutton does to help this, and she says that she puts pads on all of the chairs she sits on and on her bed at night. She also says that she does not allow herself to drink water past 3 p.m. On further questioning, Mrs. Sutton starts to wipe tears from her eyes and says that she cannot go out anymore and visit her friends because she is afraid of ruining their furniture. She admits that this is why she has given up her volunteer activities and why she does not go out to the store anymore. She does not have her friends come over to her apartment because she is embarrassed to have them see the pads on the furniture, and sometimes she is afraid that there is a bad odor. She ends by saying, "It's not fun to be old and have to be like this." As the nurse questions Mrs. Sutton about the specifics of her urinary incontinence, the nurse learns that this problem has been increasing since shortly after the last clinic visit. Mrs. Sutton states she loses urine every time she laughs, sneezes, coughs, carries heavy bundles, or even stands up quickly. This happens more when she is tired or when her bladder is full. Some days, she skips taking her furosemide pill because it makes the problem worse. The rash is very annoying. It itches and stings at times. Lately, her urine has started to burn her when she voids. Because of these symptoms, Mrs. Sutton has curtailed all social activity.